And welcome to another video with the European Research Showcase. My name is Sam. I'm your host for the short interview with another wonderful scientist who we're going to be speaking to about the work that they do. Please do hit the like button, hit retweet, share the content, whether you're watching it on Twitter, TikTok or Instagram. We'd love to know what you think, what your questions are, and just what your thoughts are about this incredible event that we've got going today. That's as much as I'm going to say. I'm going to bring in our guest for this little segment for the next 10 minutes. Say hello to Isobel. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, Sam.
So thank you so much for coming to have a chat with me today. I'm going to open up with a question that I'll ask everybody who's doing these interviews is, tell us who you are and what it is that you do.
Cool. So, hi, I'm Isobel Rowe, and I'm currently a Masters of Research or MRes marine biology student at the University of Plymouth. So, I'm currently working on a project based around limpet recruitment, and it's working on a long-term data set of about 40 years, which was collected between the 1960s and the late 1990s by a lady called Rosemary Bowman. And it's very exciting because not all of this data has actually been recorded online, like digitized, and some of it hasn't actually ever been looked at or published. So it's a really exciting project to be involved with and continue Rosemary's legacy on the amazing work that she did across the rocky shores all over the UK. So
How,
yeah, very exciting.
how do you get into that line of work? Like 40 years worth of data to kind of look through. How do you get into that sort of work?
Well, I mean, it was so I actually ended up on a placement last summer, the Aries research experience placement with Dr. Louise Firth from the University of Plymouth. And together we organised and sorted through this data set. And as it was collected from 1960s onwards, all of the data is written on handwritten like flashcards and handwritten spreadsheets. So it was all within a filing cabinet. So we had to go through and create some form of order with everything and kind of identify what was the original collected data from the rocky shore, what was kind of the cleaned up data, should we say, and then identify what graphs belonged where. So yeah, it was that placement really, and I think I got so involved and so much in love and felt like I almost got to know Rosemary a little bit from her kind of quirky notes and things that she'd recognised and seen on the shore, or the fact that she had to run away from the tides so she couldn't count the rest of the barnacles on a certain section. And I felt actually this is a really important project that needs to be kind of showcased and for Rosemary to have her moment on the amazing work she did. So yeah, I feel like I'm continuing her legacy through my master's project, looking at only a very, very small section of the data with the grand scheme of everything she did.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's a start. So
So in terms of the data itself, like you said over a period of 40 years, when does the data start? Like how far back are we going?
So the specific stuff I'm looking at is limpet recruitment data. So what she did is she'd go on the rocky shore with a 1 by 1 meter quadrat and she'd place it at either the high shore, the mid shore, or the low shore. But she visited these same sites every month. So she had these quadrats marked out on the shore permanently. And in each quadrat, she'd count the number of adult limpets, the number of juvenile limpets, and the number of spats, which are the baby limpets. She'd also measure them to see what size they were. And she also would count the number of barnacles in this section, the number of barnacle cover as a percentage, and also the percentage of mussel cover. And then on top of that, note any algae that was there and kind of whether
Wow.
there was any discrepancies with the site from the last time. And she visited these sites every month, dates ranging from the 1960s up to 1998. She mainly focused in Robin Hood's Bay in northwest England, but actually, over the span of the 40 years, she visited quite a lot of sites in Scotland, more along the northwest, Wales, southwest England, um, with these 1 by 1 meter quadrats. So, in terms of long term data, having that range from the 1960s up to the 2000s, actually, the 1980s was the start of when global warming, climate change started to really kind of take effect. But this has never been looked at. So, this is a really exciting data set actually to provide evidence for some changes that have happened in the past as a result of climate change. So, it could actually help us maybe predict what we might get to see on our rocky shores and how the dynamics might change in the future. So, it's got quite a lot of applications to kind of current scenarios as well, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's
So
really awesome to hear. So you've talked a lot about the ways that this data was collected on the rocky shore. What about you? Like, if you're analysing this data, what does your a typical day look like?
Yeah, so obviously having the data already been collected and stuff, my average day is normally sat at a desk. So yeah, this is a desk-based project for me, where I'm based at the Marine Biology and Ecology Research Centre at the University of Plymouth. So yeah, so my tasks at the moment, so I've only recently just started the project in February, so still in those quite preliminary stages of data entry. Um, but yeah, so a lot of my time at the moment has been spent going through these flashcards and entering the data into a big Excel spreadsheet. I think I hit 1,000 lines a couple of days ago. So that was a really exciting benchmark. So yeah, going through these cards, kind of picking out the numbers that are relevant to my project and putting them in a spreadsheet. It's taken up a lot of my time, but it'd be worth it. I've also started some data analysis and making some graphs to kind of show trends over time. So no statistics as such, but just kind of more of a visual guide for me to kind of see what the data is kind of showing, because when you're entering it into a spreadsheet with lots of different observation points, it's quite difficult to kind of get an idea of how it might look. So yeah, data entry, some data analysis or graph generation in RStudio, and just kind of reading some articles and trying to get a greater understanding of kind of Rosemary's thought process at the time, with some of the literature that she's published, but then also trying to kind of expand my knowledge of kind of what's been found since then and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a mishmash at the moment between the data entry, which is the main focus, and then over time that will shift to the data analysis, where we start to combine kind of temperatures at the time with some of the limpet data and kind of start to do some comparisons. But that'll be a few months' time. So yeah,
Well,
data entry is the name of the game at the moment. So
well, it's definitely an incredibly valuable thing. I think there's something that we don't talk enough about when it comes to making sure that public audiences are aware of what's involved in actually working in a kind of STEM environment, is that actually that digitization of your thoughts or other people's thoughts is some of the most valuable stuff that we can do right now, especially for 40 years worth of data that is sitting in a filing cabinet. Um, so yeah, like I admire the tenacity for and perseverance for spending all of that time for having to enter that data. But you're gonna get some really great stuff out at the end of it.
yeah, very excited to see what the data's going to show. Actually, it's going to be exciting time.
So we're these are very very short, very quick. So I want to just like finish off with what's one thing that you would want public audiences to know about your work? What do you think they should really know about it? What it is you're doing?
Um, I think this question, I think it's more of a general concept in terms of the awareness of how important data is, especially in the times now where we can't predict what's going to happen in the future. So actually having that data now, and that could just be going out to your local beach and getting involved with a citizen science project. Having those data points, whether you think, oh well, it's only one data point from me one day. But actually, when you combine that, if everybody went out and did that on their Saturday afternoon walk along the beach, especially on an Easter weekend, or something like that, um, that can actually have a really big impact moving forward. So I think, yeah, this project, for me, it's been an eye opener to kind of understand. Wow, actually, going back on a monthly basis. It's the collaborative effect. So I think, yeah, if anyone's going to take anything away from my work, it's the importance of having data and that long term data set, and actually the fact that it's really easy to get involved with something like that, especially if you're interested in some form of contribution to marine science. Um, Even just going out on your beach, if you do a beach clean, kind of noting down what you found. What sort of items was it? Was it fishing wire? Was it plastic bottles? Because even changes like that over time, that's a really cool thing to kind of note, and it's something that's really relevant at the moment. So yeah, it's an extremely valuable tool, that has a lot of applications. But if any viewers are wanting to get involved with kind of conserving and protecting and playing a role in maintaining our marine environment, getting involved with citizen science data projects in your local area, I think is a really important thing, that needs to be shared.
So it would be remiss of me not to mention, actually, this is taking place over the weekend of City Nature Challenge. So this video will be going out at that point, which is a citizen science, community science project where you can go out and record wildlife species that you see, and all you need is your phone and the iNaturalist app. So there'll be information flying around as this video is going out about how you can participate in that. It is taking place over the weekend that this video is going out. So yeah, that is a really good opportunity. I know there's other things going on here in Scotland with people specifically going to beaches and looking for disposable vapes to use as evidence for Scottish Government. Very informal, but evidence that they're using to try and potentially ban these things, which are causing, we don't know how much of an impact they're having. Isobel, thank you so much for coming to chat with us and for telling us a little bit about the incredible work that you're doing. Really appreciate you taking the time.
It's been, great to chat to you.
Not at all. Thank you so much for your time. Folks, thank you so much for watching along. Please do continue to hit like buttons, retweet buttons, shares, wherever this video is coming into your feed, asking questions. We'd love to have your thoughts, but otherwise, enjoy the rest of the European Research Showcase.